Hello everyone, this is Anish Verma and you are listening to the Empower Your Mind for Success podcast. The podcast for anyone who wants to build an entrepreneurial mindset. So in one of the podcasts, I believe about 14 podcasts before this one, I had spoken about the top 10 books every entrepreneur should read, or everyone who aspires to be an entrepreneur should read, as a good starting list of 10 books. And one of the books was around habits, and I had suggested Atomic Habits by James Clear, which is a very good book that helps you understand how habits are formed, how you can deconstruct a habit and reconstruct a habit, how do you build new habits and stick with them, and how those habits can help you by repetition, help you transform yourselves. So, I in this conference that I was, if you have heard my previous 3 podcasts, I was attending a virtual conference over the Thursday, Friday, Saturday of this past week. The name of the conference was 2 Club Live, arranged by ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson, who's the CEO and co-founder of ClickFunnels. So one of the speakers in this conference, the last speaker actually was Brendon Burchard. Now, I didn't know who Brendon Burchard was, but, I found out that he has written a book called as High Performance Habits. And, he went through a very tough time when he was growing up, a kid from Montana, at the age of 19, almost had a near-death experience, and how he, kind of thanked God to give him a chance to live, and how he decided that he wants to do something with his life. And then he went on, finished his graduation, and decided to study about high performance habits, and he did a lot of research on this subject and finally wrote a book on this. And there is something that he talks about in this book, which is called as the mortality motivation. And let me explain that to you real quick. But before we do that, I want you to think, have you or someone very close to you in your family gone through a near-death experience, and you believe that now you need to do something about it, right? You don't want to be in a similar situation. You decide that, now I'm going to change my life. Now that person is going to change his or her life, and you're going to do more with your life, help others, do more, make more money, whatever the case is, right? So we all go through some of this because we have seen someone go through that kind of an experience. So if you or someone in your family has had that kind of experience, it changes your life. You realize how life is short and how you need to do more about it. A lot of people find their calling, their purpose when they go through such kind of experiences. Now, we all don't have to wait for something like that to happen to us. Some of us find it sooner, and I think we all should, right? And I've also mentioned in the past in my podcast that no one can motivate you, right? You need to find your own motivation. Now, we can help you find your motivation, but you need to find your own motivation. Once you're motivated, then you can be inspired to continue motivating yourself to achieve your dreams and goals. So Brendon, in his book, The High Performance Habits, speaks about life's golden ticket. And he describes that as mortality motivation. Now, mortality motivation is basically exactly, going through a near-death experience and then finding your motivation to do something more, to thanking God and telling Him that I will earn this second chance that you have given me by doing something meaningful with my life and helping others and doing the God's work on earth. So this is what he talks about in this book, The High Performance Habits. Right now, I have not read the book, but this is something that he was talking about, and I think after listening to him, I would definitely like to read his book. And he also talks about then, based on his research that he conducted for multiple years, he concluded that high performance is not correlated with age or gender, nationality, intelligence, personality, strengths, creativity, nothing like that, right? years of experience or compensation. It's not connected to that. And then he also says that excellence is an art won by training and habituation. Actually, that is one of the quotes of Aristotle. And then he identifies the 6 habits of highly effective people. And when he says highly effective, I think he means high performance. And he goes out explaining each habit, and he has identified 6 habits, right? I will mention what those 6 habits are, and then as you listen to these 6 habits, I want you to think about if you see any pattern that you hear in the habits, right? So the first habit is seek clarity, and seeking clarity is very, very important, right? This helps you with your intention. It helps you about how and why you want to do something with your life, right? So seek clarity is something that I call the why, and I think without your why, and if you listen to my View Who Method podcast, I speak very strongly about a why, right? Why provides you the fuel. It provides you all the encouragement you need, all the inspiration you need to keep on going. Okay, and seeking clarity is number one, right? That is very, very important. And he also talks about under the seek clarities, you should never limit your vision for yourself and your family based on your circumstances, right? Many people set a goal at the beginning of the year. I'm going to make $500,000 by the end of the year, and when they get to the middle of the year, they have made only 100K. They are 400K left to go towards their goal, and they adjust the vision. They adjust the goal, saying that I can't make 500K. I'll make 200K. If I make 200K, that's good enough, right? You never change, never limit your vision based on your reality or your current circumstances. You have to keep going, right? You have to keep the whole thing on, and you have to ensure that whatever you do, you give back to your family first, and then out to your community. So habit 1 was seek clarity. Now remember, detect a pattern as I go through the remainder 5. Generate energy is the next one. And he talks about a very, very interesting example, right? He says, and he's trying to explain, what he means by generate energy, right? He says the power plant does not have energy; it generates it, it creates it. And I think I had mentioned this in one of my podcasts, but if not, I think it was in one of my ebooks that I documented this. That energy. If you remember physics, 5th grade physics, right? Energy, the law of energy says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. It can only be transformed from one form to the other. So if you think about a power plant, right? Power plant converts some form of energy and converts that into maybe some kind of a low efficiency energy, and converts that, does something and converts that into high efficiency energy, and then that energy is transmitted through the grid to our homes, right? But he talks very specifically about that it generates energy, doesn't have energy. The same thing with humans, right? We have to generate energy to keep going, to keep feeding our dreams and goals, right? We have to be responsible for this energy that we create, and we also need to create positive energy, right? We should not create negative energy and pass it on into the universe, right? You need to remember the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction says that the energy you emit into the universe is what you attract, what comes back to you 10 times, right? So your energy signature has to be positive. You attract what you are. You attract the energy that you exhibit or transmit into the universe, right? So that is something that we need to be responsible for. So you need to own the energy that you generate and transmit, and ideally it has to be positive. The third habit is raise necessity. More often than not, humans do something for others, right? I want to build a home for my mom. I want to make my parents retire by making my first $1 million. I want to provide private education to my kids. Whatever the whatever your reason is, right, you have to raise that necessity. And this is also goes back again to the seek clarity part, right, as to why you're doing what you're doing. But then you kind of start giving yourself reasons as to why, additional motivation to yourself that you want to get to your why, right? So you got to raise the necessity, and ideally it has to be for someone else, and you got to think about that, right? And again, as much as you visualize about this, the better, right? If you can convert your objective into a picture, visualize it in your mind, remind yourself. Our mind is very good in remembering pictures and not words, right? So maybe you can kind of draw the picture out, or find a picture on the internet, print it out, and paste it on the walls in your working space, or where you spend the most time at, right? Habit number 4 is increase productivity. Okay, you have to find a way to become more effective and efficient at doing what you're doing. Remember, efficiency is doing a thing much more faster, right? If you're doing a good thing, you're good with efficiency, you're going to get better and better of doing that good thing faster. But if it's a not so good thing, a bad habit, and you become efficient at your bad habit, it's not going to help you. Effectiveness, on the other side, is ensuring you do something better or something good to begin with, right? That is what effectiveness is. But you need to increase your productivity. So habit number 4 was increase productivity. See, all busy work is not good work, right? You need to prioritize well. You need to fill up your calendar with the right high priority items that are going to have the biggest impact on you achieving your goal for that day, for the week, for the month, for the year, whatever you're working towards, right? You need to have that, right? And he talks about that the high performing people, right? They 60% of their week they spend on prolific quality output. He calls it PQO, prolific quality output, which basically means they're very effective in whatever they are doing. 60%. And he measured himself. He says in this talk of himself, he says when he started and he measured himself, it was 36%, and then he knew there was a gap, and then that is what he worked on. Habit number 5 is develop influence, right? You need to develop influence with others. And there are various ways to develop influence. And he says that high performers do 3 things to develop influence. They teach you how to think. They don't think for you, right? They will not give you the answer. They might give you the ways to find your answer to your question. That's what even mentors do, by the way, right? They challenge you, right? They are not always going to be lovey-dovey and say, yeah, it's okay, you have another day, you can achieve it next time, you did not this time, right? Your parents, your siblings, your close friends might do that, right? That is why you need to have a mentor. As I have always reminded you, a mentor will challenge you. So high performers also, they challenge you. And then they role model for you, right? So that is what high performers do. This is exactly what mentors do as well. They teach you how to think, they challenge you, and they role model for you, right? That is why you want to follow them in their footpaths to achieve your dreams and goals. So developing, and that is how they develop an influence, right? That is how you decide you want to follow someone. So developing influence is habit number 5. And then the last habit he talks about is demonstrate courage, right? You have to find a way to face your fear. See, everybody is hardwired. We all humans are hardwired to react based on our dominant fear. So if you are fearful of doing something, we will never be able to achieve our goal if the fear is an impediment or a roadblock, right? And the only way to overcome your fear is to do it. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but let's think about this, right? Let's say you are afraid of swimming. A lot of people are afraid of swimming. So if you're afraid of swimming, how will you overcome your fear of swimming? By figuring out a way to swim. If you're afraid of the dark and you don't want to go into your basement when it is dark all by yourself, the only way for you to overcome your fear of darkness in the basement is to go to the basement in the dark. There is no other way to overcome your fear, and when you do it, then you realize there was no reason for you to be fearful of this. Right now, I'm not saying, if you're afraid of snakes, go and have a snake bite you or surround yourself with snakes. Don't do silly, stupid things. Okay, that's not what I mean. So you got to understand the context, right? The context under which I'm doing these podcasts is to help you build an entrepreneurial mindset, and I'm sharing things that other people have shared with me so that I can share with you. I can develop an influence with you. Right? That is what I'm trying to do. Habit number 5: develop influence with you, and also so that you can try to figure certain things for yourself and realize that there is nothing to fear for becoming an entrepreneur, right? There are a lot of things we tell ourselves. I can't, I'm too old, I don't have a great idea, I don't have enough money, I can't sell, I can't talk to people. All these are reasons we give ourselves and convince ourselves of why we should not move on. But demonstrate courage was the last habit, and he talks about how you overcome your fear by demonstrating courage, right? You have to face your fear head on. There is no other way, guys. There is no other way. That is the fastest way. You have to go through your fear to overcome your fear. Okay. Now, let me repeat the 6 habits, because I was talking to you guys about a pattern that I want you to realize, right? So the first habit was seek clarity. The second habit was generate energy. The third habit was raise necessity. Habit 4 was increase productivity. Habit 5 was develop influence. And habit 6 was demonstrate courage. Now, if you hear, one of the patterns of his 6 habits is they're all 2 words, right? They're all 2 words habits. But if you're thinking about it, I had to think about, give you another 30 seconds to think about the pattern in the words that he has used for these habits is very fascinating. And and I was listening to Brendan, it kind of correlates to what I have been talking about, that, action is very, very important. The words you use, the words that come off your mouth have a very profound impact on your life and on the lives of others who hear those words, right? So that is why it is very important for you to think about what words you use. So if you think about these 6 words or these 6 habits he spoke about, right? All habits began with an action word. It was a verb, right? It was an action word. Seek, generate, demonstrate, develop, increase. These were all action words. What this means is, obviously it's an habit, so you have to apply, you have to develop an habit for yourself. But these are all action words, right? They are not nouns, right? They are action words which help you, which means that you can become a high performer irrespective of your age, your gender, your experience, your strengths, your whatever you have told your mind that you cannot do now because now you're 60 years old or you're only 6 years or 16 years old, too young, doesn't matter, right? You have to find a way to act first. You have to find a way to act first, to generate, develop an habit, and then stick with it, right? So that is why habits are very, very important, right? Habits. And what is a habit? A habit is something that you do repeatedly. And again, why habits are important? Because by repetition is the only way you can reprogram your subconscious mind. Now, what is a subconscious mind? Your subconscious mind is a set of programs, is a set of decision-making frameworks that you decide to take action on anything from now on, right? And even in your past, but from now on. If your framework is limiting, then any decision that you'll make with that framework is going to be limiting as well. That is why habits lead to repetition. Repetition impacts your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind will impact the way you make decisions, and the way you make your decisions will impact your choices, and your choices are who you become in this world. So you see the connections, right? This is how the dots get connected. And that's what is very fascinating to me. I spent the last 4.5 to 5 years of my life trying to connect these dots to figure out why I failed at those businesses in the past. Everything, everything is a very big word, but most of the reasons why I failed was because there were a lot of things inside of me that were limiting me. There were constraining me to release all the shackles and jump forward, right? So that is something you need to think of, you got to consider, right? So habits, and the high performance habits especially, are key. So maybe you want to pick up Brendan Burchard's High Performance Habits book. You can read Atomic Habits. I'm sure there are multiple habits. Brian Tracy has written a book called $1 Million Habits. Dean Graziosi has written a book about millionaire secret habits, right? So there are several books, but most of these books are going to talk about how you need to do something to change your life. There is nothing outwards, guys. There is nothing outwards. Most of the improvement starts with self. You have to look inward to get better. There is nothing outside to begin with first to help you. Unless you help yourself, unless you start looking inward, unless you figure out why you do certain things the way you do, unless you try to baseline yourself, measure yourself to improve yourself, there is no improvement. That is why, the biggest room in the world is room for improvement. Okay, and you can do it. You have the information. You have the motivation. You are listening to this podcast because you're motivated to do something else and something more with your life. And you are in the top 5, top 10% bracket of the world anyway. So you're already in an elite place. Now you need to take action to move forward. Okay, and remember, you can do it, right? You have unlimited potential. Own it. Thank you for listening. Until next time, take care.